Hi guys, so long time no see. So it took a while for me to pick this camera back up, but I'm gonna go ahead and just join this Vlogtober deal, and I'm gonna say this one time and then we're gonna move forward, and that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna dwell upon it. I'm not gonna keep talking about it because it's a personal issue, but because it is October, it's Vlogtober, and I wanted to join in on that. Because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I feel like I can finally share with you guys what's been going on in my life and with my family. In a few of my vlogs, I used to hint here and there like something's going on, you gotta hear about it, blah, blah, this, that, or the other. Back in March, my mother was diagnosed with stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer. And it is a type of breast cancer that is so aggressive that it can't even be detected through mammograms. My mother would go and religiously get her mammograms done. She's had 3D mammograms. She's had every mammogram you could think of. She's been on it. And last year, she actually had a scare where she thought she had breast cancer, but she went to her doctor and her doctor checked her and she's like, oh no, you don't have it, you're just tripping. But her breasts were constantly hurting. And then her underarms were hurting. And so she thought that it was her deodorant. And then she thought it was her underwire brawling and everything. So they finally decided, after her complaining for 2 years, to do a biopsy. And they did the biopsy, and it came back through her family medicine doctor that she had breast cancer. Well, my mom told us, like, hey, I have breast cancer. We didn't know what to expect because we were only going off of what the primary care doctor said. So we didn't know like how severe it was or what stage she was in, but they basically ended up hooking her up with a surgeon. They went and had her do, they gave her some radiation and had her do a full body scan. I believe it was like a PET scan, and it just like scanned her entire body. They started discussing doing a mastectomy on my mom. So they would do a little bit of chemo, maybe, or radiation, but then they would do a mastectomy. So she was finally able to go see an oncologist. This was in March, excuse me. And they did the PET scan on her, and she didn't get the results back. She got the results back when she went to the doctor to see her oncologist to start the process of removing her breast, or talking about the steps to remove her breast. So she goes to see the oncologist, and at this point, I'm still working. You know, I'm working my regular job. My mom is keeping the kids because I don't know if you all knew this or not, but my mom was our babysitter. So she babysat my nephews, my 2 nephews, Apollo and Zion, and then she babysat Zoe while I worked. So she went to the oncologist, and my dad went with her, and we were just like all on pins and needles because we didn't know what the doctor was going to say. We just wanted to hear the plan of action so that we can go ahead and start the process to have the mastectomy and get rid of the cancer. My mom went to the doctor, and they were going over her results and stuff, and her actual oncologist was just like discussing with her what they would do to go ahead and get their breast removed. And he said, well, are there any other tests that they've run on you? And she was like, yeah, we did a PET scan. And he was like, oh, well, we didn't get your PET scan, so let me see if I have it. And so they were in the consultation, and he pulled up the PET scan for the first time, and he just paused. And he didn't say anything to her. And then he finally was like, my dad was like, well, what's going on? What is it? You know, like, what's going on? And he was like, you have stage 4 breast cancer. And it's traveled not only from your breast, but it's also has taken over your lung, and it's in your bones, and it's across your entire chest. I'm not going to cry about it because we've been crying about this since March. And I've tried to go on like everything was okay. And it's a struggle because my mom is typically in my vlogs a lot, and so is my dad. But when somebody is diagnosed with cancer, it changes the course of your life. Like, you don't even think about how much it's going to change your life, right? So my mom came home. I wasn't there at the doctor's appointment. My mom came home, and she told me, she didn't want to talk about it at first. They weren't answering the phones. I was trying to call her and see what the results were, like what's going on. She wasn't answering. I immediately became concerned because I'm like, why is she not calling me to tell me like good news or bad news or indifferent or whatever? And my mom came home, and she got ready to tell me, and in my mind I'm thinking, okay, she has stage 1 breast cancer. She's been getting these mammograms. Surely enough, like it's stage 1, they'll just have to cut the breast off or do something minimal. My mom finally like told me what it was, and she's like, I have stage 4 breast cancer. And in my mind, instantly, I'm thinking it's terminal. My mom is going to die. Like, she's going to die. And I don't think it set in for me then. And I'm not crying about it now because I don't have time to cry. My sister doesn't have time to cry. My brothers, we don't have time to cry. Our kids don't have time to cry. We have time to live with my mom. So instantly, I just like kind of broke down. And I was just like, what does that mean? All I can remember is like just screaming and just on my knees, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Like, that was the last thing I expected to hear that day, was that my mom had breast cancer and it was stage 4. And in the midst of me crying, and in the midst of me being sad, and in the midst of me having all these questions, my mom, who just found out like the most devastating news of her life, all she wanted to do was be my mom and hold me. And that's what she did. She sat there, she consoled me, she held me, and I left. And I had called my sister. And I live in the same state as my mom, but my sister doesn't. She lives in Louisiana. My oldest brother, he lives in LA, and then my youngest brother lives here in Texas. My mom was like scared to call my sister. She's like, I want to call Dee. I want to tell her. Can you tell her with me? And so I did, and my sister instantly just like stopped. She's a teacher in Louisiana. She stopped everything she was doing and said, I'm coming. I'll be there. And within like 2 days, my sister had taken off work. My brother-in-law took off work. She took the kids out of school and they came down here, and like we just went into straight survival mode. Just thinking that you're not going to have your mom. Around this time, Zaria was doing the play Annie. And Zaria and my mom are very close. Like, so close. It's ridiculous. But we didn't want to tell her because we knew she had this huge performance coming up. My mom was very proud of her. But it was hard that night because in the pictures, you can just see the sadness in my mom's face. You know what I'm saying? Like, the unexpected. Like, what does this mean? So we told my sister, and she came down, and then my brother and all that knew, we came down, and we came with the plan, and I ended up quitting my job because I wanted to be there with my mom. Being there for my mom was more important to me than like working for somebody else at that point. Fast forward, I took some footage of my mom's first day of chemo. My mom was so nervous that day, and so was I, because we just didn't know what to expect. You hear all these stories about you're losing your hair, you're getting skinny, you're starting to look different, you're getting weaker, blah, blah, blah. Because her cancer was so aggressive, she had to take 3 treatments in one off. So for 3 weeks, she would get a treatment every week, and then she'd get a week off. And in the beginning, that first round was great because she didn't have any side effects. And then the second round came and it was okay. She didn't have any side effects. And by the 3rd round, things started happening to my mom. Like, she started losing her taste. Her eyes started getting really dark. She started getting sores in her mouth. Her food didn't taste the same. She was angry. She was upset. There was an overwhelming amount of support. It was a lot. We had family just coming in every week. There was never any silence, and it was like an adjustment. I don't know. It was just a little bit harder than, not a little bit harder, because you just can never expect it to happen to you. My mom has never smoked. She doesn't drink. She is a Christian. You know what I'm saying? Like, she believes in God. She raised us in the church. She's the most devout Christian that I know. And I was angry. And I'm sure my mom was angry. But she will not question God. But I was angry. Because I'm like, how? There are so many people around her and so many people that I know, or just people in general, that you're like, you're not a good person. And this woman over here who's like praising God and serving God gets diagnosed with stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer. And if you all don't know what IBC is, inflammatory breast cancer, it's different from just regular breast cancer. IBC cannot be detected through a mammogram. And they tell you so often, go get a mammogram, go get a mammogram, make sure you're good, feel for lumps. You can't tell that you have it, and they can't detect it. The only way to detect it is by a biopsy. So if you ladies feel like you are like experiencing something that you can't explain, and your breasts are hurting and they're puffy and they're leaking, or you have like red strawberry spots on your breast, go get checked. Do not, doctors don't know it all. As much as they may say they do, they don't know it all. And had a year ago that doctor listened to my mom and done a biopsy, then they would have been able to catch it. But IBC can only be caught in stage 3 or stage 4. They never catch it in stage 1 or stage 2. It's always stage 3 or stage 4. The tricky thing about IBC is that it's in your skin. So if they cut on you, it could spread. But there are a couple of videos I have with my mom on here, and if you all take notice from when maybe I gave birth, how she looked then, and then how she looks in these couple of videos I have her in, you'll see a noticeable difference. She did lose all of her hair. Her fingernails and her toenails have started to decay and lift up from her nail beds. But underneath those nails are like new nails growing underneath there. Her hair is starting to grow back. We did get some good news about a month or 2 ago. We did a scan on her, and all the cancer that was inside of her body that had took over her liver and her bones and her chest, that's completely gone. Like, it just is gone. So we thank God for that, and I'm just grateful. But the scary thing about cancer is that you have to live every day and appreciate every day, because there's not a lot of good days when you're doing chemotherapy. There's not. My mom probably gets 1 good day a week, and it's always a day before her chemo. So out of a month, she probably has 3 or 4 good days. On top of that, she has to take iron shots twice a week now, because her iron levels are so low that if they become too low, and that has happened a couple times, she can't get her chemo. So I just want to start, just keep my mother and my family in your prayers. She has a lot of support. A lot of our family is in Kansas City. We're here in Dallas. My sister's in Louisiana. My brother's in LA. I've seen my brother maybe 3 times now since she's had cancer, and before we would see him maybe once every couple of years. So I'm so grateful for that. My sister, oh my God, bless her soul, she came down almost every single week with her kids and just flying, and just, I mean, how big her heart is, I can't even explain it to you guys. Like, I can't explain it. My dad, he's so protective of my mom. He's been such a trooper. And on nights we get to go home and go to sleep and get some rest, but at nighttime my dad has to be up with my mom because she may be having an emotional breakdown, or her body may be in complete and total pain that we can't understand. And so he, through sickness and in health, he has just been there for my mom, and he's been her rock, and I'm so grateful for that. And now she has a couple more treatments to go, and at the rate that this chemo is working, we are praying that this breast cancer that she has remaining in her breast shrinks, the tumor shrinks down enough to where they can just go ahead and do a mastectomy and just remove both breasts. But there was a time where I was just hopeless, and I didn't think I would have my mom. And as much as I wanted to pick the camera up and record my mom, or record it, or record even just me, I couldn't do it. We were in California, I recorded that, but it's because it took my mind off of what was actually happening. I just couldn't continue to record knowing that my mom is sitting next to me in unimaginable pain, not feeling herself and not having good days. But things are starting to look up. I just want you all to keep my mom in her prayers. My sister started a GoFundMe for my mom. I'm going to link that in the description box below. If you can feel it on your hearts to share, that would be amazing, because cancer and the treatments for cancer and chemo are very, very expensive. The bills are racking up, and we are all doing and pitching in what we can to help my mom out. She does have life insurance, but she's still alive, so that doesn't help her right now. One thing we really wanted to do for her, though, is get her a custom wig that they make for cancer patients. That looks real and it looks natural, and it mimics her natural hair. We were really love to do that, so we started that GoFundMe to help out with medical expenses, but also to see if we could use the money to get her a wig. So I will link that in the description box below. If you can feel it upon your hearts to share that and to donate to that cause. I just want to bring awareness to breast cancer. My mom is going to come on here and she's going to talk to you guys about just breast cancer awareness, what to look for. And then if you have anybody who is either going through it or have just found out about them having cancer, or you may have some questions and you may think that you see some things and you're worried about it, please, please, please leave your comments below. My mom will answer those questions for you all. I'm happy to answer all those questions and talk about them. And she's also going to do a small segment on here through this month, because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, to just bring more awareness, because there's not much information on IBC. And the bit of information that I've been able to find on YouTube, the lady has not posted in over a year. So I just want you all to just keep my mother and my father uplifted in your prayers. Keep my family uplifted in your prayers. But my mom is in a space now where her hair is starting to sprout back. It's very small, but it is sprouting back. She's getting her energy back. Her energy levels are going up. And I feel comfortable recording her. And she feels comfortable talking about it and being a voice. And just truly understanding what breast cancer awareness means. Ladies, take care of yourself. If something doesn't seem right and a doctor tells you that it's okay and you feel like it's not okay, go get a second opinion. You know your body better than anybody else. Go get a second opinion, because your life matters. It truly does. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. Disease and cancer shows no prejudice. Anybody can get it. And I just thank you all for just sticking with me. And to all my new subscribers, thank you for joining. We will continue back. We will pick back up. We're going through some rebranding right now. And I'll introduce you all to my mom shortly. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Get ready for Vlogtober. Bye!